Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. The Bible recounts that immediately after the tragic event in the first family in the world, the family of Adam and Eve, when Cain took the life of Abel, Cain became a wanderer on the earth, wandering all over the place. According to the story, Adam and Eve met again, giving rise to a new son who started another lineage of Adam. Among the lineages of Adam, the lineages of Seth and Cain stood out. This video will specifically address the lineage of Seth, so please leave your like, and if you enjoy this video, share it with others who have questions about biblical genealogies. Let's explore another topic full of mysteries and questions. Who are the descendants of Seth today? Who did Seth marry? The Bible recounts that the first children of Adam and Eve were Abel and Cain, with Cain being the firstborn and Abel the second son. The sacred scriptures detail a well-known tragedy, the death of Abel, caused by his own brother, Cain. The biblical account suggests that the news of Abel's death, upon being received by Adam and Eve, was a significant impact, as they did not imagine that their firstborn would be capable of killing the second. Biblical interpretations and Jewish tradition, as in the Book of Jubilees, considered inspired by Ethiopian Christians, clarify that Cain found his wife, who was one of his sisters. The text of the Book of Jubilees mentions that Cain's wife was named Avan and was one of the daughters of Adam and Eve. Cain had a son named Enoch after these events. Adam once again knew his wife, remembering that the term knew in biblical language means to have relations with his wife. From this union, another male child is born, even though Adam already had several female daughters at the time, as the later text will indicate by informing us that Adam lived 800 years, producing sons and daughters. The next son of Adam is mentioned in the text as Seth, the third male child of Adam and Eve. Seth, in turn, knew his wife, who is one of his sisters, and the Book of Jubilees tells us that her name is Asherah, daughter of Adam and Eve. The two have a son, giving rise to Seth's lineage. According to the Book of Genesis, in chapter 5, it is stated that Adam lived 800 years after the birth of Seth, producing sons and daughters. Adam lived a total of 930 years and passed away when Seth was 105 years old. After the birth of Enosh, Seth also had a daughter named Noam, as mentioned in the Book of Jubilees. And Seth lived after he begot Enosh 807 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enosh lived 90 years, and begot Cainan. After he begot Cainan, Enosh lived 815 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. And Cainan lived 70 years, and begot Mahalalel. After he begot Mahalalel, Cainan lived 840 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Cainan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years, and begot Jared. After he begot Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and begot Enoch. After he begot Enoch, Jared lived 800 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years, and begot Lamech. After he begot Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years, and begot a son. And he called his name Noah. The Bible recounts that the descendants of Seth initially sought knowledge and wisdom from God, invoking his name. However, later on, just like the descendants of Cain, they also strayed onto the path of evil. A peculiar occurrence is mentioned in the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 1, where it is stated that all the descendants of Adam, all the sons of Adam, began to mix and multiply among themselves. This resulted in the intermingling of Adam's lineages, with the lineage of Seth mixing with the lineage of Cain. An interesting curiosity is pointed out by rabbis and ancient traditions regarding the wife of Noah, possibly named Naamah or Imzara, who belonged to the lineage of Cain. Some also highlight that the descendants of Cain were present in the ark, but only through their wives. This was the case with the sons of Noah, who were either not from the lineage of Seth or were from the lineage of Seth but mixed with the lineage of Cain. The Bible informs that the first prophet sent by God to rebuke the ancient world was Enoch, who lived as the seventh man in the lineage of Adam. In other words, humanity, represented by the descendants of Cain and the descendants of Seth, was already mixed and both immersed in wickedness and iniquity. The text highlights that, at that time, only Noah was considered righteous, and a little addressed aspect in the scriptures is the kinship between Noah and Enoch. Enoch, Noah's great-grandfather, was the father of Methuselah, who in turn was the father of Lamech, and Noah was the son of Lamech. There are two biblical characters named Lamech, mentioned in the book of Genesis. One of them is a descendant of Cain, and the other of Seth, both sons of Adam. Therefore, when talking about Lamech in the Bible, it is important to consider these two men who had completely different stories. While one was evil, the other was righteous. The name Lamech comes from the Hebrew Lamech and is widely accepted as meaning a strong young man or vigorous youth. Lamech, the son of Methuselah and the descendant of Cain, was the first polygamous man mentioned in the Bible. He married Adah and Zillah, Genesis 4 verses 18 to 24. Lamech had 3 sons whose stories were significant in their time. Jabal became the father of nomads who lived in tents and raised livestock. Jubal excelled as the father of all musicians who played the harp and flute. Meanwhile, Tubal-Cain stood out as a master in the art of metallurgy, working with copper and iron. However, in addition to these 3 sons, it is believed that Lamech had a total of 70 sons. The Lamech, a descendant of Seth, was the son of Methuselah and the father of Noah, as mentioned in Genesis 5 verses 25 to 31 and 1 Chronicles 1 verse 3. He possessed a completely different character from the other man with the same name. In Luke 3 verse 36, he is mentioned in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. Lamech lived for 777 years, as recorded in Genesis 5 verses 25 to 31. Lamech was a righteous man who feared God. He expressed confidence in the promises of salvation and had hope that, through his son Noah, the curse of Adam would be reversed, as mentioned in Genesis 5 verse 29. It is relevant to note that Methuselah, being the son of Enoch, lived in the 7th generation, while Noah lived in the 10th generation from Adam. We can infer that in the days when Enoch was still on earth before being taken up by God and brought to heaven alive, the earth was already immersed in great wickedness, both in the descendants of Cain and the descendants of Seth. Enoch made tireless efforts to convert hearts before the destruction of the flood, remembering that many people lost their lives before this catastrophic event. Most likely, many people died, but some may have been saved, as many of them may have believed in the words of the prophet Enoch. Even the sons and daughters of Enoch, including Methuselah, could have been saved. The book of Genesis, in chapter 5, verse 32, informs that Noah, at the age of 500, fathered 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These 3 became the ancestors of humanity, from whom all modern peoples descend, whether from the lineage of Shem, Ham, Japheth, or from all 3 lineages combined. Currently, all human beings are descendants of Adam and Eve through various lineages. Genesis, chapter 6, verse 1, highlights the intermingling of these lineages, resulting in the birth of many children. The text emphasizes that many of these daughters were exceptionally beautiful, which led the sons of God to take for themselves the women of the earth, resulting in the birth of giants in ancient times. During that time, the world was immersed in depravity, with a great river of sins of all kinds, including deaths. Faced with this scenario, God sent the Great Flood. Thank you to everyone who watched this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. We would love to hear your opinions in the comments, as we are constantly learning from you. Unfortunately, due to the large number of comments, we won't be able to respond to everyone, but we do read each one. Thank you to everyone who dedicated their time here. May God be with all of you, and we'll see you soon.